Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you would like to attend our services live, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu, then How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Man, I'm so happy to be here. And I woke up at one point this morning saying, oh, I'm not even nervous. And then about 20 minutes ago, that tightening around the chest started to happen. And then I got really excited because I know that just means something marvelous is occurring. And I'm just so grateful for all of us here awakening together. So welcome. Thank you, Rhoda. The statement of purpose here at Awakening Together. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. Today, for this gathering, I've chosen, or let's put it this way, core value number 5 has chosen us. We accept all forms as temporary appearances permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. Chills are running up and down this body. I'm so happy to be here with you now. And now, Rhoda, I get to hand it back to you for announcements. Yeah, George. And before I go back to Rhoda again for our song, this is so fun. I feel like we're playing past the baton. From NTI Romans 8. World, and all you think about the world is illusion. The world is a world of thought, and every thought that you have ever had is expressed in the world. Sit with that for a moment as Rhoda plays our first song. So the prayer. My spiritual aspiration is to be truth, yeah, and to serve only truth until truth is all there is. The only definition I have for truth is that which has no opposite. So all judgment, all good and bad, all right and wrong is not truth. Thoughts can point us to truth, but they'll never be truth. So I recognize that in this moment, the me who's looking out through these eyes and seeing you, I'm seeing a thought. I'm seeing something that isn't fully true, and yet what I'm seeing is beauty. So the prayer, the only prayer I have for this gathering, for this eternal moment, is that I, the I who sees a you, steps out of the way, and we allow only truth to fill this gathering so that all that we think we are gets dissolved into the beauty and the truth of what we are. You know, I was given so much of what is about to happen, and including the reading, and I fought it a little. The me who sees something different fought it a little. I thought everybody already knows the golden key, right? And then I found out yesterday that wasn't true. So here's just a few words. When I read it, it's about 7 minutes. It was written and published June 1st, 1931. And I thought I was going to wait until after my beloved friend Dianne read it to say this. But when Emmett Fox talks about placing your attention on God, I'd like you to hear in your mind maybe Regina talking about true thought, you know, our way of being. Yeah, so Dianne, thank you for agreeing to read The Golden Key for us.
Thank you, Cyndi, for inviting me to read it. It was a good reminder for myself. So here it goes. The Golden Key to Prayer. I have compressed this essay into a few pages. Had it been possible, I would have reduced it to as many lines. It's not intended to be an instructional treatise, but a practical recipe for getting out of trouble. Study and research are well in their own time and place, but no amount of either will get you out of a concrete difficulty. Nothing but practical work in your own consciousness will do that. The mistake made by many people when things go wrong is to skim through book after book without getting anywhere. Read The Golden Key several times. Do exactly what it says, and if you are persistent enough, you will overcome any difficulty. Emmett Fox. Prayer will enable you sooner or later to get yourself or anyone else out of any difficulty on the face of the earth. It is a golden key to harmony and happiness. To those who have no acquaintance with the mightiest power in existence, this may appear to be a rash claim, but it need only a fair trial to prove that, without a shadow of a doubt, it is just one. You need take no one's word for it. You should not. Simply try it for yourself and see. God is omnipotent and man in his image and likeness, and has dominion over all things. This is the inspired teaching, and it is intended to be taken literally at its face value. Man means every man, and so the ability to draw on this power is not the special prerogative of the mystic or the saint, as it is so often supposed, or even of the highly trained practitioner. Whoever you are, wherever you may be, the golden key to harmony is in your hand now. This is because in scientific prayer, it is God who works and not you. And so your particular limitations or weaknesses are of no account in the process. You are only the channel through which the divine action takes place, and your treatment will really be just the getting of yourself out of the way. Beginners often get startling results at the first time of trying. For all that is absolutely essential is to have an open mind and sufficient faith to try the experiment. Apart from that, you may hold any views on religion or none. As for the actual method of working, like all fundamental things, it is simplicity itself. All that you have to do is this: stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. This is the complete rule, and only you will do this. The trouble, whatever it is, will presently disappear. It makes no difference what kind of trouble it is. It may be a big thing or a little thing. It may concern health, finance, a lawsuit, a quarrel, an accident, or anything else conceivable. But whatever it is, just stop thinking about it and think of God instead. That is all you have to do. The thing could not be simpler, could it? God himself could scarcely have made it simpler, and yet it never fails to work, when given a fair trial. Do not try to form a picture of God, which is impossible. Work by rehearsing anything or everything you know about God. God is wisdom, truth, inconceivable love. God is present everywhere, has infinite power, knows everything, and so on. It matters not well how you may think you understand these things. Go over them repeatedly. But you must stop thinking of the trouble, whatever it is. The rules is to think about God, and if you are thinking about your difficulty, you are not thinking about God. To be continually glancing over your shoulder, as it were, in order to see how matters are progressing is fatal, because that is thinking of the trouble, and you must think of God and nothing else. Your object is to drive the thought of difficulty right out of your consciousness. for a few moments at least, substituting it for the thought of God. This is the crux of the whole thing. If you can become so absorbed in this consideration of the spiritual world that you really forget for a while all about the trouble concerning which you began to pray, you will presently find that you are safely and comfortably out of your difficulty. That your demonstration is made. In order to golden key a troublesome person or a difficult situation, think, now I'm going to golden key John or Mary or that threatened danger. Then proceed to drive all thoughts of John or Mary or the danger right out of your mind, replacing it by the thought of God. By working in this way about a person, you are not seeking to influence his conduct in any way, except that you prevent him from injuring or annoying you, and you do him nothing but good. Thereafter, he is certain to be in some degree a better, wiser, and more spiritual person, just because you have golden keyed him. A pending lawsuit or other difficulty would probably fade out harmlessly without coming to a crisis. Justice being done to all parties concerned. If you find that you can do this very quickly, you may repeat the operation several times a day with intervals in between. Be sure, however, each time you have done it, that you drop all the thoughts of the matter until the next time. This is important. We have said that the golden key is simple, and so it is, but of course, it is not always easy to turn. If you are very frightened or worried, it may be difficult. At first, you get your thoughts away from material things. But by constantly repeating some statement of absolute truth that appeals to you, such as, there is no power but God, or I am the child of God, filled and surrounded by the perfect peace of God, or God is love, or God is guiding me now, or perhaps best and simplest of all, just God is with me. However mechanical or dead it may seem at first, you will soon find that the treatment has begun to take and that your mind is clearing. Do not struggle violently. Be quiet, but insistent. Each time that you find your attention wandering, just switch it straight back to God. Do not try to think out in advance what the solution of your difficulty will probably turn out to be. This is technically called outlining and will only delay the demonstration. Leave the question of ways and means strictly to God. You want to get out of your difficulty. That is sufficient. You do your half, and God will never fail to do his. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. So grateful. So, and there are tears in my eyes. And in this space of all minds are joined and no thoughts are secret, right? I will say out loud that I'm feeling the resistance of letting go of me and the world I see. And I will for nothing else. And that's where I am in this gathering. My intention for this gathering, again, is not to get through it, not to say, yay, Cyndi can lead a gathering. I just assume let Cyndi go. This body, mind, personality program is resisting that, but it really doesn't matter. And I know it doesn't matter what any of you think, which is the beautiful thing, right? Our beliefs don't matter. Our willingness brought us into this energetic field. We're letting go of the bondage of the sense of a self that is separate from truth. Yes, that needed to be said because I feel I can speak again. So Emmett Fox's article is clear, and we probably, those of us who are here, say, yep, if only I could. But he says, just turn your attention to God. And recently, as I'm listening to the clarifying the teachings, I heard Regina very clearly teach about true thought, right? And somehow something settled in that teaching. So I now understand and will use the golden key as an invitation to understand that true thought is what Emmett Fox is pointing to, and true thought isn't words. It's a way of being, right? So when we are only love, when we are stillness, when we are the gratitude that extends out and touches everything we see, we're true thought and the world around us changes. When our experience is not that, which for most of us, we find some degree of our time spent in desiring that, intending that, but experiencing something different than that, that's when the tools, these beautiful tools that we're learning here and in the communities that we're in, are of use. Bridge thoughts, right? Regina called rest, acceptance, trust, a bridge thought. Hanging out in communities that are intending only for awakening are bridge thoughts. Studying NTI and the truth teachings, they're all tools, they're symbols. They're not true, but they're symbols. And as we show up and give our willingness for that which isn't true simply dissolves. We can't do it, right? Because the me who thinks it has to be done is what we're dissolving. I'm so grateful. I understand that Regina is a symbol, but for me, she checks the boxes right now, right? The humbleness, the openness, the statement that says willingness, our willingness to show up every day. The statement that says, hey, it's not what it thinks, but what we're doing is we're killing the ego. And the ego, the conditioning, is what has supposedly is telling us is what brought us here, but it's not. Truth pulled us into the energy of this moment. So true thought is not thinking. And so much of what we've been studying and where we are states that our problems come from thinking. So stop thinking and bliss is the result, right? So as I was sitting in understanding and giving my willingness for that, and working on the fact that seems impossible, since I identify as Cyndi and Cyndi thinks, I asked for a symbol or a tool or something to act as an anchor as the healing takes place. And what was cool is that I saw the cat from the Matrix, and somehow I knew, and I wanted to gift it with you to use even as I share some of these stories, because I'm not inspired to do anything other than at this point than to share how this is working in Cyndi's experience as Cyndi lets go of a me and a you, right? So the idea, so much of our thoughts, so much of our world is based on what we thought and what the conditioning in the world tells us is true. But if you get real quiet, and as we continue to practice the pause and slowing down and noticing the thoughts in the world, if you look around, you'll always find something that doesn't belong. Like the cat from the Matrix. Yeah. You find something that is not logical based on the world of form, the fear-based world. And you grab onto it and you hold it and you let it dissolve. What the mind is telling you is real. Like the cat in the Matrix. Keeps going back and forth. It doesn't belong. Logic, conditioning tells you that there is a world out there that's fallen apart, or I have to protect myself, or I have to defend myself, because otherwise what? I don't know. Many of us watched Violet. We heard what happened when you listen to the thoughts in your mind and you believe them. We don't have to believe them. And that cat, or whatever it is for you in your world, when you reach it and say, well, if what the mind is telling me, if what the world is telling me is true, then this wouldn't be here, but it is here. And why not focus on it? Why not focus on it? Find what doesn't belong in your world, even right now, what doesn't make sense. Over and over again, I was in this place of knowing disaster was about to happen, or I couldn't pay my bills or something over the last 30 years. And every single time, a miracle, something shifted. And I never went a day hungry, right? So should I believe the thoughts that tell me that tomorrow I'm going to be hungry? Or shall I hook into the fact that for almost 60 years right now, every time I needed something to be okay, it was provided? Focus on that. Focus on that. It's amazing the energy is pushing the body. The Tuesday after Mother's Day, I woke up with a horrible headache. I thought it was a sinus headache, right? And a couple things happened between Tuesday and Thursday. One is I was inspired to make sure I knew where my neti pot was, and I went out, bought some Mucinex, and I couldn't sleep. Head was pounding, and somebody called me and just casually mentioned, oh, sinus headaches, I use an ice pack. And so I made sure that first night I spent every 2 hours, I got up and exchanged this ice pack, a message from the divine. The other thing that happened, which was so interesting, is the world attempted to give me a whole bunch of problems to solve. Somebody who I loved called me, and her angst was overflowing. And my body hurt so much, all I could do is look at her and say, sweetheart, I love you. I can't even understand what you're saying. The pain was so great, right? And she essentially hung up on me. Thursday morning, I took the COVID test, and it was positive. I was surprised, but it was positive. And somehow, the decision was made. I didn't make the decision. Cyndi didn't make the decision, but I stopped thinking. For some period, linear time and I were not. I'm always where I'm supposed to be, but I never know how long it lasts. Linear time is part of the thought process, right? So it was somewhere around a week to 10 days. I don't know. I just stopped thinking. It was a Thursday. I did my gentle healing class that night. I told the group, and then I turned the computer off. Once a day, I sent a text to the family unit and said, I'm doing okay, just really tired, and I don't want to think. And I didn't take any calls. I slept when I was tired. I ate when I was hungry. I had a friend, and he and I were watching The Chosen. We did it virtually when it was time to watch an episode of The Chosen. When it was done, it was done. I didn't think. It was no problem to solve. I went outside once or twice and just soaked up the sun. That's all I did. I was in bliss. And every time I looked towards the world during that period and thought of a problem where I needed to, I physically became ill. The room started to spin. All of a sudden, there were problems. And somehow, just like that, I said, nope. And I just stopped thinking again. I was in bliss. It was the most amazing experience. It was a gift. And then I allowed it to end slowly. I don't know how to put it any other way. I kept the thinking slow. I introduced it back into the Cyndi experience slowly. And one of the first things I noticed is all the problems, the chaos and the disaster that I was supposed to resolve before this experience had resolved themselves. There were no problems waiting for me, right? None. Somehow they were all gone. Thinking wasn't necessary for me to experience bliss. Actually, every time the thinking mind attempted to drop in, I felt violently ill. Thinking not only wasn't required for me to experience bliss, thinking separating truth from illusion. So I stopped. Thinking did return though. This body, mind, personality, whatever this is, isn't fully merged and purified yet, right? Except I now have I have the cat, right? I now understand that my thinking is not required to solve the so-called chaos of the world. And I had this memory. I have these memories. This isn't just for me, right? We're all one. The teacher, the teaching, the student. There's nothing that separates us. So whatever you're hearing is for you. It's for us, for the healing of the one mind, right? So thinking comes back slowly. There is somewhat of a larger separation between truth and the thoughts that will tell me that there are problems to solve. And memories are returning, right? And the belief that these memories are valuable and that they're real. My daughter was in graduate school for the last 3 years, and she was all over the country on internships. And sometime last year, she was home, and we went to Walgreens, and I needed a pen. And she pointed out the pen, and she said, "This is my favorite pen. You're going to love this pen. It's a cheap pen, right?" So I bought the pen, and I fell in love with the pen. Absolutely fell in love with the pen. She goes off to school. I have this pen. The cat keeps hiding the pen, so I keep buying more. I ordered refills. I ordered a dozen pens. I'm so happy that my daughter and I love the same pen, right? Like there is no part of me that isn't thrilled by this connection. And then she's back here, and about a week and a half ago, she walks into the apartment. I could close my eyes and I can see her walking in, and right away I turn around and open this drawer and take out the box. And I show her, "I love our pen." She starts laughing at me. She was part of that story, right? Everything about that story was the same. Except this is her pen. You see, it has a click. This is the pen that I've been buying, right? And even with that all said, I close my eyes and I go back to the memory, and the memory tells me that this is the pen. The memory in here tells me this is the pen. But I don't disbelieve Sarah. This is the only pen she uses. My memories lie. I can no longer trust Cyndi's memories. And how cool is that? Because all the truth teachings tell me that the memories aren't real. They're not real. And yet I'm acting as if they are. But now I have my second cat to hook into. I can't trust my history, which is very, very, very cool, since all the truth teachings say is that this is the only moment that we have now. So you would think, right, that those two stories all happening just in the last 6 weeks or something would be enough, and Cyndi would be experiencing bliss, but that's not the experience, okay? So here's story number 3. And this one, I think, is the most powerful one for me. because I can see how, and it doesn't matter, like science and spirituality all state that form is an illusion, right? So science is, they can't prove that physicality is real. It's 99.99% space. Our experience is that I am apart from you, and I could put my hand on this table and form is touching form, and I could sit here and say, but that's not real, but I'm still having the experience. And this is why, I have Regina in my head telling me again, well, this is why purification is useful. There's someone in my life who I love very, very much. And my storyline will tell you we've been together for almost a quarter of a century, right? And there is history and storyline and drama in the past, to the point where the thought, now thoughts aren't real, remember, but the thought of spending time with her creates a constriction around the heart. She doesn't like me because is what, and I have all the proof of memory, which I can't trust, but still creates a sensation. And this being who I do adore visited me this week, and I felt there was the experience of the pain, right? This experience of a pain of past memories is occurring, even though I am hooked into knowing that I can't trust my memories. The experience, the sensations are still there. They're still happening. And we spent 5 hours together, I think, something like that. I don't know. And Cyndi is continuing to experience the sensations. And I'm continuing to give my willingness for truth. And the pain is there. And it's so cool, right? Because I'm sitting there saying, I don't believe the memories, inner wisdom, Rabbi, even while I'm in this relationship, even while all of this is happening, because we keep showing up every day and we're here, that space between not only the thinking, right? We are taught that thoughts, what we see, how we feel are all code. They're all fourth principle. And so they're not real in the sense that they're dependent on something. And I ended up, it was beautiful, sitting on a little rocking chair next to this being who I love. I had, she wasn't really talking, and I could feel the pain. Like the space in me was convinced that this is the way it was. This is because of our relationship. This is because of blah, 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 on. And it all feels real. And I gave my willingness for it not to be real. I had Romans, NTI Romans, opened up on my lap. It's where we are in gentle healing too. It really doesn't matter what truth teaching you have. And my eyes landed on the words I used at the beginning of our gathering, right? The world is not real. It is thought. This world is not real. It is thought. I give my willingness only for truth. And somehow a stream of memories came from somewhere. All thought. I give my willingness only for truth. I don't know how long it took. As the memories came up that I had cherished, I gave willingness for truth to correct them, right? I'm a good course student too. I'm a good truth student. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. As I sat in the world, now this is in the world, hanging with somebody I've known for 25 years who is not a spiritual student, not someone who I wasn't having this conversation. I was sitting in the gunk of the belief of the memories, and I gave my willingness for truth to correct it. And as the mind said, you can't do that. You're killing her. You're killing your relationship. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the truth of God. This is a thought. It's not real. Doing the work in the world, doing the work in the world, right? Just doing the work in the world. And then I felt the shift. I don't know how long it took. But all of a sudden, pain in the heart, in the body, just went away. I can't tell you if she changed, but all of a sudden, what happened was I recognized that whatever was going on, it had nothing to do with what happened 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. That released. And I just saw something else. I don't. The thing is, either the truth teachings are true, in which case we're just asked to do the work, to let go of the memories, the beliefs that we cherish, or it's not true. And we might as well do the work to let go of the memories and the beliefs we cherish because, well, it feels good. Because what else are you going to do? What's better than this? I don't know. I've been I don't know how many weeks. So, one of the beauties of agreeing to speak like this, and I talk every Wednesday in the sanctuary, and I always say yes when people come, right, is that I somehow know that it's not, again, the teacher, the teaching, the student, all one, right? So I don't come here to provide information. When we say yes to speaking out loud what's going on, I always give my willingness to practice and to notice the practice between when I say yes and this moment. The linear time is all part of the illusion. And so this isn't about me leading a gathering, right? This is about our willingness to let go of beliefs and stories and history and allow more truth to flow. Yeah, Georgie, it is freedom. So, I heard Regina once say that if she was on a desert island and could only bring one book, it would be the Tao, right? Right now, today, for me, it would be NTI. Like, I understand that this book and all truth teachings are symbols. They open doors. And so I'd like to read from NTI, 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Now is the day of salvation. For now is the day that you can choose to think apart from the world. You can choose to think apart from your experience. There was nothing about that other day with somebody that my memory told me I was with for 25 years that felt that wasn't true, right? I made a different choice. You can choose to think apart from your experience. As you do this earnestly, your experience will change. And you will find yourself willing to let go of the world. To think apart from your experience and to think apart from the world is a request that is to be taken literally in all circumstances without exception. I'm going to read that line again. I don't know about your experience, but my experience when truth is talking to me directly and the conditioning feels threatened, I don't hear what's being said. I've had some of these gatherings where I could sit here for an hour and a half and listen and not hear a word, and I have to go back again and again and again. And that's okay, because you meet resistance with willingness. And then the resistance dissolves, yeah? To think apart from your experience and to think apart from the world is a request that is to be taken literally in all circumstances without exception. Without exception. Doesn't matter if you believe it. Doesn't matter if your house is burning down. It's a thought. If you're standing there watching all your belongings burn down, this teaching right here tells you to look at it and know it's just a thought. It's not real. And your whole body might shake because you think that everything you ever cherished was in that house. It's just a thought. It's not real. To think apart from your experience and to think apart from the world is a request that is to be taken literally in all circumstances without exception. This will seem to take practice, but as you practice, the increase in willingness will make the practice easier. Here is how you are to practice. As you suffer, choose not to suffer. Let the experience of the body continue without the desire for the experience to be different. Rejoice that the experience is not your reality. It's just your thought. It's not true. When you are afraid, choose not to be afraid by remembering that what you fear is not real. It is of the world, or it is born of thoughts of the world. It is an experience, but it isn't real. It is not real, and so it is not your truth. When you are joyous because the world seems to be going your way, and today seems to be your day, remember that is not your joy. Your joy is your truth, which is beyond the world. Be happy and be joyous, but let your joy come to you apart from your experience. Let your joy come to you from the truth in your heart. Relax in your joy and be your joy, beyond your experience of the world. The world, everything you see, that you see as not you, is a thought. It's not true. It's not real. Give your willingness for the atonement, for the correction of everything you see that is not you, including everything you think is you. And enjoy every moment. I want to say thank you for being here. You know, I can give my willingness and my acceptance that all I'm seeing is me. And so I can say in all truth that I love this teaching that everything you see is a reflection of who you are, because all I see right now is beauty. And with that, Rhoda, before we open for any comments or any suggestions, I'd love for you to play this next song. And also, while she does that, I know she's going to put a link for donations. Awakening Together is a church, and if you're inspired to help support the church, we'd love for you to do that. Thank you, Rhoda. So there is another song, if there's time, that I'd like to do. Number one is say thank you. Like, my heart is bursting open, and wonder if anyone would like to speak into this space now. You just raise your hand or unmute or do whatever you want. Anything at all. Hey, John.
Cyndi, I just want to say how beautiful this was. I mean, it touched me deeply. The gentleness and the clarity with which was spoken here has literally brought tears to my eyes. So, thank you.
Thank you, John. And every time you're in the room, something in me lights up. So it's so much fun doing this with whatever we are together, right? And yeah, I don't know what's happening. That's the coolest thing, right? Regina keeps telling us that, and so many other things that say, the I don't know mind is the greatest place to be. And I literally am so grateful to teaching that says, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's literally just about showing up and doing the work. That's all, reaching for that next best feeling place. Playing the game. If we're here, then we're rising in vibration together. We're dissolving the world. Who else would like to speak? Yeah, Martha.
First, I want to say I too join with John about how incredible this message was today, and just wanted to acknowledge the power of it for me, in that I have been looking at who am I, of course, and beginning to see it very, very differently. And yet I have found that even when I am in the state of what I now consider to be sort of blissful awareness, where I can look at God and do exactly what the Golden Rule is talking about and then join with it, I have also noticed this undercurrent still that isn't part of my sort of everyday, but it is still there. And it's about those memories, just as you were talking about. It's about still believing in the memory a little bit rather than simply allowing it to go. And so the Golden Rule is so very, very helpful to me. And then I know even in those times when I begin to feel those undercurrents, that I can still recognize God everywhere and get exactly what you're saying. I have no idea really. Those memories aren't truth in any way. They're false, and I have so begun to recognize the falseness in that. So thank you again. I so appreciate the message that has come through you today.
Thank you. And so I'm just inspired to state, I have a challenge, I guess, for all of us. Somehow I am leading the gathering today, and then I'm leading the last gathering in July. So the first gathering in July and the last gathering in July. We're all one, right? The teacher, the student, the teaching are all one. So here's the challenge. The challenge is to sort of find your cat, right? And just for the next, it's 28 days, play this game. Intend to lead the gathering with me on the 31st. I don't have the title. I know the reader. Yvonne's going to read for me, right? But on the 31st, between now and then, just play this game of choosing truth, not believing your memories, looking for the cat and anchoring there. Yeah. How fun will that be? Who else would like to share? Oh, Helen.
Hello. I would just like to triple or whatever up to the gratitude. I just feel if I could distill that into one word, it would be willingness. That's like that's the thing that's like I can put that in my pocket and take that away with me from today, I've been in the sanctuary since the meditation before as well. I don't know if how many other people have done that, but the flow through from then, fantastic DJ Rhoda, and then listening to the whole of your homily, and when you were saying your heart was popping, I was feeling that myself as well. And it kind of like beautifully, and I had this vision of it kind of being knitted together by like grandmas, like a quilt, and there was this beautiful kind of heartfelt familyness to it. But that sense of different moments in my life where I've felt that unquestionable and delightful oneness through it all, which, like I say, was partly what we were doing in the meditation. And it was that your willingness to go, this isn't me, this is us, this isn't me, this is us, so many times, and those feelings being like pockets of experience, actually that willingness and the reading to go, well, be willing to let that knit together more and more. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Got chills. Yeah, the thing is, Cyndi's going to die. I don't know when. 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, it doesn't matter. I'm not interested in what's going to die. You know, and what's not going to die is whatever it is we are when we let go of believing there's a me and a you.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.